What is up, my brothers and sisters, my agents of respect? It's your boy Trey Johnson back with another episode of the No Disrespect But podcast. Before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Always feel free to comment. Just keep them comments respectful, you understand? And last but not least, if you're interested in supporting your favorite podcaster, the link to do that will be in the episode description. So, without further ado, we have the gear on. You know what that time means. That means the NBA season is about to be in full effect with opening night being tomorrow. And before we dive into that, I need to make sure I acknowledge the Las Vegas Aces. You're back-to-back WNBA champions. Were able to come back in game four and close the deal against the newly minted super team, New York Liberty. And AJ Wilson walked away with the Finals MVP, well deserved. Awesome season, especially the adversity they faced, losing Candace Parker, the only CP3 I acknowledge. Along with losing Chelsea Gray in game three. And some people thought, hell, that might be the end because she is the point goddess. But, early in game four, it looked like that. Liberty were on a tear. But Coach Hammond, the GOAT, she was able to, you know, get some things in order, get that team in order, and they closed the deal. So shout out to them. Las Vegas Aces on a hell of a season. Shout out to the New York Liberty for one heck of a season as well, making it to the finals. And can't wait until the next season, see what new players make it to the league. I know there's a few in mind that I'm thinking of right now, but shout out to you ladies for a remarkable season. Loved every second of it. Thank you again and congratulations. And so now I want to jump into the NBA season. And look, we starting off right. This week, they did well. They did well. And so there are some games, we're opening with the Lakers and the Nuggets, defending champion Denver Nuggets, going up against the LA Lakers, who they swept, by the way, in the conference finals. So, that's going to be a big matchup. Suns and Warriors. So you got KD. In the war going against the Warriors. So that's going to be a good one. Obviously, the debut or official regular season debut of Victor Wembanyama for the San Antonio Spurs, who at times you will hear me call them the San Antonio Wembies. It mean no disrespect. It just is what it is, right? I got Wemby, y'all didn't. So look, I gotta wear that proudly. But they'll be taking on the Mavs, a division rival. So really looking forward to that. It's going to be a real test for this young Spurs team, see where they are, if they're ready. Also kind of going through the week, KD and the Suns, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, who they just got. They're going to be playing the Lakers. You got 76ers, maybe without James Harden, who knows? Going up against the Bucks this week with Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo, who just signed a 3-year, $186 million extension. So look, Giannis, you avoided my San Antonio Wimbies for a little bit, but we still looking for you. We still want you. Heat versus Celtics. And then you're going to have the Warriors versus the Kings. And there's a lot of other games going on during the week. Those are just some of the favorite ones that I'm looking forward to watching and paying attention to. So really excited for the start of this NBA season. I think anybody that's an NBA fan, a basketball fan, you should be excited as well. There's just so many unknowns, so many moving parts, so many new pieces to teams. A team that you knew last year might not be the same team. And so trying to figure out, how is this season going to go? How are they going to navigate through that? But there are 5 things that I personally am looking forward to, and they're in no particular order. But I know one thing I'm really looking forward to is will Golden State embrace the youth movement? And look, don't get me wrong. I understand that Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, they are the staples of this franchise. They're the guys that really make this thing run. But it kind of reminds me of the San Antonio Spurs a little bit. You knew Tony, Manu, Timmy, they were the core to what we did, right? But you had young guys like Corey Joseph, Gary Neal, Patty Mills, Kawhi Leonard, Danny Green, Tiago Splitter, um, Aaron Bain. So you had some guys that were up and coming and playing crucial roles in in way of or in the way of getting to a title. So yeah, he knew who the three core guys of the system were in the franchise, but you had to kind of give some young guys some room to grow. And obviously, they ended up going towards Kawhi Leonard as the guy that was supposed to take over the mantle. So is Golden State going to do that now? Steph's up there in age, Clay's up there in age, and let's keep in mind that he did miss 2 years with an injury, and so the past couple years have really been about him getting himself truly into shape and trying to find that form he used to have. But we understand that we may never see the same Clay Thompson, but still a lights out shooter. Still can give some issues on defense, but not as agile and quick as he used to be in terms of trying to keep up with some of these guards in the league. But I bet you ain't gonna leave him open. I'll tell you that much. And obviously, Draymond Green always going to be a defensive force. He is the vocal leader of that Golden State's team. So we understand that those three guys are the guys, right? But last year they kind of struggled with embracing the youth movement. A lot of those guys like Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody weren't really getting minutes. You saw there was some turmoil with Jordan Poole, who they ended up shipping out. So a guy that was young, hungry. Remember his rookie year, Clay was hurt, and then Steph ended up getting hurt. So he got to be thrust into a role where he was relied upon as more of a scorer and having to be kind of that leader on the court. And it almost seemed as if when Clay came back, Jordan wasn't necessarily ready to relinquish that role, and he got paid a lot of money, and he probably was feeling some type of way about himself and where he was supposed to be. And we know that him and Draymond got into the altercation where Draymond's a bunch of them in the offseason, and they just never were the same. And I think part of that is because, yeah, we obviously know what happened in that practice, but I think you had we were at a point where young guys are ready to break out, but your older guys aren't ready to relinquish that control. And you have a guy like Steve Kerr, who he won with these guys, right? These cornerstones. So why would he, let up and let some of these young guys in? And through all the struggles, they ended up finishing with the sixth seed. And granted, they upset the third seed, went to game 7 or game 6, I believe, with the LA Lakers before getting knocked out. But they weren't that good of a team. And then let's understand that Andrew Wiggins missed a ton of time as well. So are they ready to embrace that youth movement? Draymond Green's going to miss a few games to start the season. He had an injury. So is Jonathan Kuminga going to step up? Is Moses Moody going to step up in Draymond's absence? And if they ball out, what does that look like? Draymond got his start in his career because David Lee, 2010 guy, gets hurt. Draymond comes in, does his thing, and you don't put him back on the bench. So do we see something like that happen with a Jonathan Kuminga or a Moses Moody? I haven't even mentioned Brandon Podziemski. I think that's how you pronounce it. And if I'm wrong, somebody please correct me. Let me know the exact pronunciation. But young guard, lefty, Southpaw Nation, always going to represent, and a guy that can shoot it out the gym. He can make plays off the dribble, make plays for his teammates. So you might see a guy like, hey, if he steps up, what does Chris Paul's role look like? Is Brandon somebody that you want to play with Steph? What if, he becomes kind of your Jordan Poole 2.0 where Clay looks a little expendable. We understand that they've been having some issues with his contract, and he's going to test free agency next year. So he might be a trade candidate at the deadline if Golden State wants to get something for his services instead of letting him walk out. So there are so many things that could happen, but really interested to see if Golden State in some way is going to embrace the youth movement because they definitely didn't do it last year. And I think in some ways it came back to bite them because the Lakers embraced their youth movement, got a lot of young guys to run up and down the floor. And then obviously you have AD, who's not an old guy, but still a veteran. And then Bron able to close it out. So looking forward to seeing that. Also want to see, man, the Pelicans going to finally stay healthy. Look, I get it. Zion might be worrying about anime and porn stars and all that type of stuff, but at some point, the Pelicans go as far as he goes in terms of being healthy, and as far as Brandon Ingram goes, as far as being healthy. Um, the trio of Brandon Ingram, C.J. McCollum, and Zion Williamson have not played a lot of games together, and that sucks. They put a lot into it. They put a lot of money into all three of those guys. They've drafted and acquire some complementary pieces like a Trey Murphy, who's going to be out for a little bit with the knee injury, Herb Jones, who uh, arguably should be a defensive player of the year every year. But he makes them work defensively, kind of finding himself in the NBA as far as offensively and where he fits. And so that's something that you might want to look out for. Jose Alvarado, Grand Theft Alvarado, as they call him, because he can sneak behind you, get those steals, always brings that intensity and that energy. But it won't matter if Zion and Brandon Ingram don't play. Like, they're the two best players on the team. It's hard to win in this league to begin with. It's going to be extremely harder to win if your two best players aren't playing. And so you would like to see CJ McCollum come and play the role he was brought in for, kind of be the elder statesman, that leader, that guy that can kind of get the offense going in terms of getting the ball where it needs to go, and then kind of being that clutch time scorer when you need him to be that on the perimeter. When guys like Zion, obviously the defense is going to hone in on him and his abilities because he's amazing, as well as Brandon Ingram. And what's frustrating, and look, I'm from New Orleans, so I talk with a lot of Pelicans fans. What's frustrating is, man, they looked like the best team in the league last year around December because they were just stomping on teams. Zion doing 360 windmills, Brandon Ingram giving it to you inside out, mid-range, three-point range, getting to the basket. CJ McCollum was doing his thing. And they were also coming off a big-time playoff series against the Suns. So there was a lot of momentum last year, and things looked promising. I was like, Lord, they might do some damage. And then injuries start to pile up. And they tried to maintain, but usually when your role players start playing a lot of minutes, well, they put their bodies in harm's way, right? And so they end up getting injured. It just everything just fell off the rails. Zion kind of started going, in his own little world. We had all this stuff in the offseason about what was going on with his personal life. So, man, if they can stay healthy, be cohesive, win some games, a lot of that offseason and off the court stuff, man, it won't even matter. And so, I got some love for my Duke boys, even though they're in the Southwest Division with my Spurs. I love them, man. Like, I want them to do well. I want them to be successful. And obviously, they're the team of my hometown. So you don't want them to suck. You don't want your people to be depressed about it, right? But I think everything's going to change if those three guys can stay healthy. If Zion gives you about 55 games, BI gives you about 55, 60 games, and despite injury, I think CJ played in like 75 games. So if he can give you, 60 to 65, whatever it might be, maybe he can rest his legs a little bit for that stretch run. Sky's the limit for the New Orleans Pelicans. So I'm really excited to see what happens and if they can stay healthy, because I think they'll be one of the more dangerous teams in the league if they do. I obviously want to look at the new look Bucks, acquired Damian Lillard. It did cost them Drew Holiday. So obviously we know that's going to affect them defensively, right? But you still have Brook Lopez, you still have Giannis. Chris Middleton's a little bit older, but he can still kind of do his thing on the perimeter as far as being a defender. So I think they have some things. I think one of the things the Bucks were missing, um, especially when they had Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Giannis, was they really didn't have a closer. Chris Middleton was that closer, but having gone through injury, he wasn't the same guy last year, and he didn't have those legs last year. And so I think bringing a guy like Damian Lillard, who's one of the best closers in the game, is going to work wonders, especially in late situations where it's not Giannis having to go downhill to try to make a play. You got somebody that you can say, hey, take him to the promised land. Damian has shown his career he can do that. I truly thought by the time we got to this episode, he would be in South Beach. Obviously, him and Portland didn't see eye to eye on that. Nothing got done on that front. He ends up going to the defending number one seed in the Eastern Conference. So, hoo-hoo, like, it's okay. It's not like they sent you to Charlotte or something, my man. They sent you to the best player in the world. They sent you to the defending, as far as record is concerned, Eastern Conference champs in that regard. And you're a guy that can help get them over the hump over Miami Heat, where now you can't just make a wall around Giannis and say, oh, well, let the other guys beat us, because Damian Lillard will beat you quite easily. So really looking forward to see what they look like. Have a new coach as well. So a lot of things to figure out, and I want to see that Damian Lillard Giannis pick and roll. See what that's hitting for. Uh, One thing that really interests me is, do the Clippers call it quits? They brought back Russell Westbrook, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George are making a ton of money, but they don't play a ton of games. They miss a ton of games actually, and they have over their tenure together. And so, Steve Ballmer, he's a competitor. He's won at everything in life, and he hates to lose. And so, I think he wants to stick it out with this group because they've shown that when they're healthy, they are tough, man. They are tough. Like I thought Kawhi Leonard by himself was single-handedly going to take the Clippers far last year. That's how much of a tear he was on. And then I don't know if it was a mysterious bump or something, but he ends up tearing his knee up, and it's like, oh, bro, like what's going on? So, he's been dealing with his share of injuries, but he says he's been working on getting healthy. He's good. Paul George has been working and rehabbing. He's good. He's ready to go. Obviously, you got Russell Westbrook. They're trying to go get a James Harden. We'll see if that trade goes through at some point. But I'm really wanting to know: are they going to end up calling it quits if Kawhi ends up having to miss a lot of games, or Paul George happens to miss some games? If things aren't clicking, do you say, all right, gotta let Tyronn Luke go, and we're gonna start trading some pieces? Obviously, I think you're gonna keep Kawhi Leonard. He's the franchise guy. He's the guy that's supposed to help you sell tickets in this new stadium. But what about a guy like Paul George who may want out? What about a guy like Russell Westbrook who will have a tradable contract? He took a lot less than he's worth to come back to the Clippers because he wants a chance at winning a ring, and they have a championship roster, I believe. But if, again, much like the Pelicans, if your two players aren't playing basketball, it's going to be hard to win in this league when it's already hard to win in this league. So I could see the Clippers really being a team that starts selling, and Paul George being the one guy they can give off that gets some picks because compared to Kawhi, he's a little bit more healthier. You don't have to worry about, some of the off the court stuff as far as like the, mood swings and all whatever it is that comes with Kawhi. And Paul George, he doesn't have to be a guy for you to be successful. So I can see a team like the 76ers, maybe it's the Bulls, maybe it's the Miami Heat trying to make a push for him. There are a lot of teams that I can see trying to make a push for Paul George to get on their team. So I'm really interested to see, are the Clippers what we have expected them to be the past 4 years, or will they be more of the same what we've seen over the past 4 years, dealing with injuries, a lot of playoff disappointments or regular season disappointments, and let's see if they sell to try to get some type of draft compensation. Who knows? And last but not, and certainly not least, you got to know that I'm looking forward to the San Antonio Wimbies, baby. I mean, Wimbinyama, I've been watching every single preseason game. I can tell you right now, this is my first time ever watching the NBA preseason. That's how hyped I am about this young man. That's how hyped I am about this team. A guy like Devin Vassell that's going to be now on national televised games that can show the type of dog he is. Guy like Keldon Johnson that can show the type of dog he is in that mentality, that big body type of play style. A guy like Jeremy Sohan who can be a modern day Pippen just the way he can antagonize some of your best players. And in case y'all didn't know, we rolling out with a big lineup. Jeremy Sohan, 6'8", starting at point guard. Then we got 6'5" and 6'6" with Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson as shooting guard and small forward, respectively. Then we got 7'4" Victor Wembanyama, baby, at power forward. And then we got Zach Collins at 7 feet, who's going to be our center. And he's a guy, was a lottery pick, dealt with some injuries, but he's kind of gotten his groove. Shout out for the contract extension, Zach. Happy to have you for another 2 years. You deserve this contract. You've earned this contract. And I look forward to what you're going to be bringing us. I wish you health, my brother. But Coach Pop, sacrificed, you know, tank. Oh, he said, I'll tank for a year. I'll sacrifice trying to pursue playoff contention and whatever it is to set us up truly for the future. And he did that. But now that we've gotten our guy, we've gotten Victor Wembanyama, there is a new rejuvenation type of feel where we want to win. And look, we might not win the championship this year, but the mindset is we want to win a championship, and that hasn't been the case in so long. Like realistically, that hasn't been the case. And so and I haven't even mentioned my guys like Doug McBuckets, who already was a lights out 3-point shooter. And I imagine when he's coming off of Wemby screens, and you got to decide if you're going to take Wemby or Doug McBuckets. So he's going to have a green light and a freeway to the rim and to 3-point shooting. We got Chidi Osman in the trade. Thought he was going to be a salary dump, but he showed some things in the preseason, showed that he could be a vet, somebody that can handle the ball with the second unit, can play defense on the perimeter and the post. Charles Bassey coming back from a knee injury. He's going to be good. Blake Wesley, I don't know how much time he's going to get, but really looking forward to seeing him and see how he grows. Malachi Branham, my guy, so silky smooth. Just excited to see him score. And Trey Jones, who was our starting point guard last year, he's moving to the second unit, going to be the floor general there. So guys that you don't really want to put into position to try to make their own plays. Now you got our best floor general, I believe, in Trey Jones. That's going to help facilitate that second unit. And I'm looking forward to the lineups that Pop is going to put together. Like, shit, we might roll out a game where Victor is the starting point guard. Like, you never know. And so I know this season is going to be a lot about growth, seeing, okay, who are the guys that need to stay in this coalition and who are the guys that maybe we need to maybe trade or move off of. But I do think the Spurs have a mindset where they want to make the playoffs this year. And I ain't talking about just the play-in. I think they have a mindset to make the playoffs. And so I am looking forward to what that looks like. And look, it's a long season, 82 games plus the playoffs. So y'all know y'all going to hear a lot about the San Antonio Wimbys and Wimbentonio, baby. It's I'm so excited, man. Like I'm always excited for Spurs basketball, even in the years where I knew we weren't really going to do a lot, but it's just different, man. And this kid is special. Again, I have never watched a preseason game before in my life, and I'm almost 30 years old. And when this guy gets drafted, I want to see him play so much. I'm watching preseason games. That's crazy. That's crazy. But I got Wimby. Y'all didn't, man. I don't even mean no disrespect. That's just the matter. I am happy. You can't tell me nothing. But anyways, as we kind of close things out, I want to talk about predictions, and so I'm not going to go the full model of okay, this is seeds 1 through 8, and this is what the playoffs are going to look like, and this is who's going to make to the conference finals and the finals and things like that. No, I used to do like the top 8 for each conference, but I'll do the top 10. Just want to mention the play-in. That's a real thing now. That's our reality. I hate it as a competitor. I think teams that have earned the right to be the top 8 in their conference should stay that way. But the NBA wants to make more money. I guess nothing is wrong with more basketball. So it is what it is. So now it's the top 10 in each conference that have a chance. First to try to make it to the playoffs, and then to try to vie for a NBA title. So I'll start with the West because the West is the best in no particular order, just my top 10 teams in the West this year. Denver Nuggets, obviously defending champions, Nikola Jokic. Like, if Giannis is the best player, Nikola Jokic is like player 1A because he's that guy. Lost the key guy in Bruce Brown, Jeff Green. But you bring in Jamal Murray. Hopefully he can stay healthy the rest of the whole year because we saw when he's healthy and he's playing, he can get you to the championship, right? Michael Porter Jr. They got some young guys that are there as well, so they'll have a chance. My guy, I can't even think of his name, Strother, I think is his name, from Gonzaga. I think he's going to play meaningful minutes. Looking forward to seeing him. But anyways, Denver Nuggets, the big three over in Phoenix. So I got the Suns in there with KD, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker. Pelicans, guys, I'm really high on the Pelicans. I just think if they stay healthy, the sky's the limit for them. Golden State Warriors, obviously. I just got to go with them. I'll never pick against stuff in terms of being able to compete for a championship, unless like something drastic happens. Oklahoma City, I think they're going to be a team where they're much like the Spurs. I think they're ready to win now. I think last year was the year they really wanted to go, but Chet got hurt. Now Chet's healthy. SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, for those of you that don't watch ball, he's a guy. He's a guy. He might end up leading the league in scoring. I'll just say that. But I think OKC is ready to make that next level of being competitors and getting back to that era the KDs and Russell Westbrook and Ibaka, James Harden. I think they're ready to get back to that. Obviously, got my Spurs in there. The Lakers, year 21 for Bron. Honestly, that's honorable mention. I mean, why am I looking forward to year 21? I feel like year 21 is going to be just like year one. That's how great this guy is, LeBron James. But I think the Lakers are in there. Sacramento Kings, I don't think last year was a fluke. I think they're one of the teams to look out for. Dallas Mavericks, Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving. They had a full off season together. They got Derek Lively in the building, so they got a nice center. So really excited to see what they do under Coach Jay Kidd. And then I think the T Wolves. They're not really getting a lot of respect. Rudy Gobert doesn't get a lot of respect for what he brings to the table. Carlton Towns, I think if he stays healthy, remember he missed a lot of games last year, and he kind of came towards the end of the year. So I think if he stays healthy, they're dangerous. And everybody knows how I feel about Ant Edwards, man. Like he's a guy that might be in the MVP race and definitely might lead the NBA in scoring. So there's a lot of guys that might light it up this year, and so I want to say T Wolves might take that next step. They might take that next step. Going to the East, obviously, the new look Bucks. I just think the Bucks were already a good team. I think adding the Damian Lillard, it won't hurt at all. Boston Celtics, obviously, with the Jays, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derek White. Obviously, they lost their heart and soul, Marcus Smart via trade, but we'll see what happens with that. They did get Drew Holiday, which is hilarious. So they lost Marcus Smart, but they got Drew Holiday. So we'll see how that goes. Um, Miami Heat, of course, Chicago Bulls. Shout out to Lonzo Ball, man. Hope recovery is going well. Can't wait to see you hopefully next season. I know they said you're probably going to miss this season, but want to see you back on the floor, my brother. Atlanta Hawks, Trae Young, DeJounte Murray. They got rid of John Collins. They might be getting rid of Clint Capella at some point because you got to let Okwangwo, I think is how you say it. You got to let him have his moment at some point in time. You just signed him to a contract extension, so looking forward to what they do there. Orlando Magic, they might be ready. They might be ready. Can Markel Fultz stay healthy? I think if he stays healthy, they're a really good team with him. And obviously, you know how I feel about Paulo Banchero and Franz Wagner. So we'll see. 76ers, I think even without James Harden, I think they're a really good team. Nick Nurse is a really good coach, so I can still see them vying for a playoff spot. The Brooklyn Nets, I almost called them New Jersey Nets, shows you how old I am. The Brooklyn Nets, I like what they have going. Can Ben Simmons stay healthy? I think he's a real good force, a real force of a player. If he can stay healthy, so we're looking forward to seeing what they look like. Cleveland Cavaliers, I think last year with Donovan Mitchell, because I don't know, he didn't sign a contract extension yet, so he's entering the last year. Here's the deal, I believe. And then I think New York Knicks, I think they'll make it. Jalen Brunson is a guy. He is a guy, a really good guy. And so I think they're going to grow and expand upon the season they had last year. Kind of staying on some predictions. I'll start with awards. I'll start with Coach of the Year. I think Coach Pop is going to win Coach of the Year. He's going to have a relatively young team. But I think some of the things that they'll be able to accomplish, I think he'll end up taking home that award. Six man, I'll go with Emmanuel quickly of the New York Knicks. I think he finished second to Malcolm Brogdon, who played for the Celtics last year, now with the Portland Trail Blazers. I think Emmanuel quickly gets that award. Defensive Player of the Year, a guy that probably would have been a decent Player of the Year if Kyrie and KD don't get traded, is Nick Claxton. Now, I want to have the right to reserve, or I want to have the right to change this because in my heart, and it happened when I was talking about the Pelicans, in my heart, it said it's Herb's time. So we'll see if Herb gets it, man. If Herbert Jones gets it, because they've been killing that man. They've been killing that man in terms of the voting because he arguably is the best defensive player in basketball right now. What he can do on the perimeter, what he can do in the post, he's got it like that. And he was a guy that was known for defense, playing at the University of Alabama in the SEC. So why not her? But I'm gonna say Nick Claxton because they like to give it to the tall guys more times than not. So I'm gonna go with Nick Claxton for now. But as the season progresses, I have the right to change this to Herb Jones. I'm just gonna say that. Rookie of the year, come on. Come on, it's going to be Wemby. Now, Chet could win it. I can see Chet winning it, especially if OKC has a really good year. I can see a guy like Scoot Henderson winning it because he's going to have a really green light to truly expand on his skill sets, right? But I gotta go with my guy. And again, it's mainly because I did watch the preseason. I just kind of thought that, oh, like he'll just go through the motions, they'll see how he fits in. Nah, it's not that they call him plays for Wemby, it's just he makes plays, man. He makes plays. So I think he's going to have the points. I think he's going to have the rebounds. I think he's going to have the blocks. I think he's going to have some assists. He's going to have amazing games, man. I'm going with Wemby for Rookie of the Year. MVP of the league, I am going Giannis on this one. I just think it's, and again, much like the Defensive Player of the Year, it could be Cole, it could be Nikola Jokic again, it could be the Joker, but I'm gonna go with Giannis on this one. And I get it. He could get hurt because not physically hurt, okay, people, but hurt in the sense that he has a superstar in Damian Lillard on his team now. But I think Giannis is going to continue to put up Giannis-like numbers. I think Bucks are going to continue to be not only top of the Eastern Conference, but top of um, the NBA in terms of record-wise. Obviously, he's going to still be a force defensively. I'm going to go with Giannis to win Most Valuable Player. Now, I want to finish it off with my bold predictions. Starting with my Spurs, my San Antonio Spurs, San Antonio Wimbies, whatever it is. I truly believe they will finish with the top six seed in the West. So they will avoid the play-in. They will avoid the play-in tournament. I think they're going to secure a top six seed in the West. So that's one of my bold predictions. Another one is, and I kind of alluded to it when talking about the Clippers, I believe Paul George will get traded in the deadline. I see a lot of teams that are going to be kind of in contention, borderline contention, that truly need that superstar jump. You could possibly see, if James Harden doesn't get moved, you maybe see a guy like Tobias Harris get moved back to the Clippers with some picks. You might see, a team like the Hawks. You might see a team like the Bulls. You might see, you know, I can't think of any Western Conference teams right now that would go for him, but you might see some teams say, "We want that guy. We'll give you some first round picks to bring that guy in." So we'll see. You might see a team like the Cavs pull it because you know Donovan Mitchell might be gone, and they may want another guy to be with Darius Garland. But for the time being, bringing in the Paul George to form a big three with Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, it might happen. Who knows? Last bold prediction. Y'all gonna get me on this one. Y'all gonna get me on this one. And everybody's gonna be playing this around this time in the summer when all the records and all the playoff happenings are going on. But Spike Lee's gonna love me. Stephen A. Smith's gonna love me. The New York Knicks will make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Yes, you heard it here first. The New York Knicks. New York Knicks, they ain't won a damn thing since I've been alive. And honestly, I don't think when they won the championship last, my dad probably wasn't even born yet or something like that. I don't know. Something like that. It's crazy. It was in the 70s. I think 72 was the last time they won. My dad was just born. So mine wasn't born yet. But the people of New York, because I know y'all don't care about the Nets. I know Jay-Z moving to Brooklyn, but that ain't y'all. They Jersey. They Jersey. Y'all don't care about that. Y'all care about them New York Knicks. And Spike, if you watch this episode, when this happens, Mr. Spike Lee, you need to fly me out to New York. I need to be at MSG, courtside, with the outfits and the glasses like you. And I'm gonna tag you when I put this episode up because I want to hold you to this, Mr. Lee. Stephen A. Smith, I'm talking to you too. Your New York Knicks will be in the Eastern Conference Finals. I won't go as far as that. I ain't that crazy. Look, I'm a crazy man, but I would not go as far as to put y'all in the finals. But the Eastern Conference Finals will include the New York Knickerboxers. So people in New York, you can crown me king now. You can make me mayor. Your mayor sucks. So you can crown me mayor or whatever it is because I just did y'all a solid. Let's see if I'm right. Let's see if the self-proclaimed sports guru is right. But when I say bold, that's about the damn boldest thing boldest prediction I have ever made in sports ever. And keep in mind, in terms of football, I picked Kirk Cousins to win league MVP, and even that is less bold of a pick than picking the New York Knicks to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. But they're gonna do it. Julius Randle gonna do it. Jalen Brunson gonna do it. R.J. Barrett gonna do it. My boy Mitchell gonna do it. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is, Coach Tip. I got you, dog. I got you. But anyways, man, as I leave off, just so excited for the NBA season. Definitely going to be talking a lot of basketball throughout the year. Definitely hitting some marks of kind of where we are in the season, what are things looking like, what our teams looking like, what our players looking like, especially some of this young talent coming into the league. Really excited. I think this is going to be one for the books. League is really wide open, and it has been for quite some time. And so you always love when there's that parity in the NBA where you don't truly know who might win. There's always a chance that somebody might knock the top dogs out, i.e., Miami Heat knocking out the Bucks and the Celtics. So in route to a championship, and the Knicks for that matter. So really, really excited to see what things look like. But as we end, I want to say something different, but I ain't gonna say it then. I ain't gonna say it now. It's just more of I'm not a professional. I'm just a guy with a voice. And if I say anything that's offended anybody, it's a good thing. It's an opportunity for me to learn. It's an opportunity for you to teach me. All I ask is that you keep it respectful. Peace.